40 teams, 20 games, 20 tickets to be punched to AT&T Stadium in Arlington in the Texas High School Football State Semifinals. These are the picks. Welcome into the picks, your guide to the Texas High School Football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. Here we are, the state semifinals, one win away from playing on the grandest stage of them all at AT&T Stadium in Arlington for a state championship. There are 20 games all across the state. We're going from 6A all the way down to 2A. We start in Katy. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Legacy Stadium in Katy. It's a 4A Division II state semifinal between the West Orange Stark Mustangs and the Wimberley Texans. What are the keys to this matchup? Well, key number one, strength on strength. When we get into the playoffs, what we want to see are the best units going up against the best units, and that's what we've got in this one. It's the West Orange Stark defense taking aim at the Wimberley offense. For West Orange Stark, the chain gang defense has been as advertised. They're actually the 8th best defense in all of Texas high school football statistically, giving up just 8.1 points per game, led by their outstanding defensive back, Jaron Morris. And on the other side, Wimberley's offense has never been hotter. Quarterback JoJo Weeks is in complete command of this offense that's averaging nearly 500 total yards per game. And so, plain and simple, who wins out when strength meets strength? Will it be the West Orange Shark defense or the Wimberley offense? Key number two, the Texans bend, don't break. If you look at the numbers, then the Wimberley defense isn't going to blow you away. It's pretty good. They give up just 20 points per game, but it's not that kind of dominant unit that sometimes you see in the state semifinals. But instead, they make plays when they need it. With Matt Mitchell and Gavin Martinez, this team has a knack for the big moment. Now, they're going to go up against a West Orange Stark offense that, is kind of grinding along. They've struggled in the past couple of weeks, but we know that they have some explosive playmakers. Can the Texans defense bend but not break? And key number three, the streak. The last time West Orange Stark lost a game was September 26, 2015, a loss to Richmond Foster, who, by the way, is a 5A team. Since then, they've rattled off 39 consecutive wins. It's the longest active winning streak in Texas high school football at any level. And in Texas high school football, these kind of streaks have a tendency to just kind of continue themselves, right? Some teams just look at the other side of the field and say, oh, there's that team that they just don't lose. Can Wimberley be that team? Can they seize the moment, or will the streak just keep on streaking? Who am I picking? I'm going with Wimberley. I think the Texans, their offense is just rolling right now. JoJo Weeks has been fantastic, and they got so many playmakers out there that he can pick and choose where he wants to go. It's going to be tough going against this chain gang defense, but I also think the Wimberley defense is a little bit underrated. And going up against a West Orange Stark offense that's scuffled in the past couple of weeks, I've gotten my concerns about them. I think this game is close, and it's hard to pick against the streak. But I think Wimberley makes it to the 4A Division II state title game. Meanwhile, 9 o'clock Friday night at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. It's a 5A Division I state semifinal between the Denton Ryan Raiders and the Highland Park Scots. What are the keys to this matchup? Well, key number one, superstar quarterbacks. And you knew this was where it was going to start, right? For Denton Ryan, Spencer Sanders has been everything you want in a high school quarterback. 65 total touchdowns on the year. He is a threat with his legs. He can absolutely sling it. And more importantly, he makes great decisions. And he has all year long. But on the other side, John Stephen Jones, the quarterback for Highland Park, has been everything you want in a quarterback as well. 56 total touchdowns on the year, and he has a knack for the big moment. Now, he's a little bit nicked up in their win over Mansfield Lake Ridge, but he is expected to play in this game. And so on this big stage, with a ticket to AT&T Stadium on the line next week, who shines brightest at AT&T Stadium this week? Key number two, seniors on defense. And Randy Allen, the coach for Highland Park, has to sleep pretty easy knowing that he's got a senior-laden defense out there to take on Spencer Sanders and this high-powered Ryan attack. Whether it's Ryan Cox up front or it's Noble Nash in the middle of this defense, there's experience all over the field for Highland Park. Does that matter in this state semifinal, or will Denton Ryan find a way past them? And key number three, vengeance. Don't forget, this is a rematch of last year's 5A Division I state semifinal in which Highland Park took home a thrilling win over Denton Ryan. But one of the key factors in that game is that Spencer Sanders, the quarterback for Denton Ryan, got hurt about halfway through the second quarter. He tore his ACL. And from there, Highland Park smothered the Ryan offense with that outstanding defense and rode it all the way to a state championship the next week. And I'll tell you, this has eaten at people around the Denton Ryan program for an entire year. This is the kind of game that Ryan fans feel like they were were the better team, and if Sanders doesn't get hurt, they're playing for, if not winning, a state championship. They've had a year to let it stew. Is that vengeance the little thing that puts Ryan over the top? Who am I picking? I'm going with Denton Ryan. Yes, I do think that vengeance plays a little bit of a role in this game, but beyond that, I just think that Denton Ryan's offense is hitting on all cylinders right now. Spencer Sanders has been great, but beyond that, his wide receivers, Towski Dove and Gabe Douglas, have been outstanding. Beyond that, the defense, I think, for Ryan is a little bit underrated. Doesn't get the headlines because of what they do offensively. That defensive front can be fierce, and it could give Highland Park a lot of trouble, especially if that offensive line is not able to open up running lanes for Paxton Alexander and the Scots running game. I think this game is close. It comes down to probably the fourth quarter, but I think Denton Ryan gets a little bit of vengeance. I think they advance to the 5A Division I state championship game. 2 o'clock Saturday at McLean Stadium in Waco. It's a 6A Division I state semifinal between Allen and Round Rock Cedar Ridge. And for all the superstars in this game, and they are everywhere, Ezekiel Koss and Simi Bakari for Cedar Ridge going up against Grant Tisdale and Brock Sturgis for Allen. I think this game comes down to something a little less headline-worthy, shall we say? This is Allen's offensive line, which has been great all year long, going up against a very, very quick Cedar Ridge defensive front. That's a huge key in this matchup. I think Allen gets a scare, but I think Allen wins this one. 3 o'clock Saturday at Alamo Stadium in San Antonio. It's another 6A Division I state semifinal between Katy and Lake Travis, and these two teams have combined for 14 state championships in their history, so you should probably pay attention to this one. The big question here is, how will Katy's defense, which has been excellent all year long, handle what's been a growing and improving Lake Travis offense, especially Garrett Wilson, who is on another planet right now, talent-wise. The other side of it, though, I think Katy has an advantage. That running game with Joshua Oglesby and DeAndre Glass is some vintage Katy offense. I think that guides the Tigers back to the title game. 6 o'clock Saturday at Allen's Eagle Stadium. It's a 6A Division II state semifinal between Hewitt, Midway, and Longview. And Longview is here thanks in large part to their outstanding quarterback Haynes King and one of the best secondaries in the state. They have a knack for the big play. This is going to be one of the best secondaries that Hewitt Midway quarterback Tanner Mordecai has seen all year long. Can he handle that? Take care of the football, because Longview will absolutely pounce on any mistake. But I do think that Midway is going to have an advantage up front offensively, and that could be just enough to push them over the top. I like Midway. 3 o'clock Saturday at NRG Stadium in Houston. It's the other 6A Division II state semifinal between Austin Westlake and CyFair. I got a chance to see CyFair last week, and I was really impressed with just how sound they are. There's nothing that really blows you away, but they play great defense. They get very good quarterback play from Cam Arnold. They block well. They do all the little things. The question in this one for me is whether or not they can get a lead on Westlake and make the Shaps chase. If they do that, they're in a great position. But I think Nakia Watson and Westlake is just a little bit too much. I think Westlake makes it back to the title game. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at NRG Stadium in Houston. It's a 5A Division I state semifinal between Manville and Angleton. One thing that I'm really interested in here is whether or not there's any letdown effect for Manville after a big, emotional, vengeful win over Temple last week, because if there's any hangover, Angleton will absolutely pounce on it. BJ Foster, the do-it-all athlete for Angleton, is a ridiculous football player who can take over the game in all three phases. For Manville, they've got to find a way past what's been one of the best defenses in the state. But I think Case and Martin and the Mavericks are on a mission. I think Manville makes it back to the title game. 2:30 p.m. Saturday in Birdville. It's a 5A Division II state semifinal between Alito and Mansfield Legacy, and Alito needs to watch out here. I know the Bearcats are big favorites to bring home the 5A Division II state title, but Legacy is playing some special football right now. Their defense has been outstanding, and they have a game breaker in Jalen Catalon who can take over the game in all three phases. For me, this comes down to whether or not Alito's sophomores, Jace McClellan and their quarterback Jake Bishop, can take care of the football. If they do, I think Alito wins it. This is going to be close, but I think Alito wins this one. 7 o'clock Saturday at NRG Stadium in Houston, it's a 5A Division II state semifinal between Austin, McCallum, and College Station. And how about Cinderella? The slipper still fits for Charles Taylor and the McCallum Knights after taking down Cal Allen last week thanks to a virtuoso defensive performance from linebacker Jackson Masters. But whereas they were going up against this plodding machine-like offense last week for Cal Allen, this week they're playing maybe the single individual best playmaker they've seen all year long with quarterback Marquez Perez. He is special. He's playing at a very high level right now. Whereas last week, I think McCallum and Cal Allen was a low-scoring affair thanks to the McCallum defense. I think this could be a bit of a shootout. I think College Station takes it down in a very close one. Give me the Cougars. 5 o'clock Friday at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. It's a 4A Division I state semifinal between Kennedale and Stephenville. And really, these are things that either team have not seen before. For Stephenville, I think this is going to be the fastest team they have seen all year long. DJ Curvin and Jaden Knowles for Kennedale are bona fide burners, but on the other side, for Kennedale, I think this is going to be the best quarterback they've seen all year long. Easton Jones for Stephenville has been exceptional. So who wins out in that one? I think the Kennedale defense is the difference. Give me the Wildcats. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at the Ford Center in Frisco. It's a 4A Division I state semifinal between Carthage and Waco, La Vega, and this is kind of the game we've been waiting for, right? This is undefeated against undefeated, and it is strength on strength. The Carthage offense has been fantastic. Their running back, Keontae Ingram, at this point needs no introduction, but they're going up against one of the very best defenses in all of Texas, led by Braylon Watkins. This big Pirates front is menacing. But the other side of this ball is going to be very interesting as well. Can Jamal Williams and Camache Hobbs get past Michael Gates and this Carthage defense that pitched a shutout last week in a regional final? I think this is close. Carthage has been my state title pick from the beginning. I'm sticking with them. Give me the Bulldogs. 7 o'clock Thursday at the Ford Center in Frisco. It's a 4A Division II state semifinal between Graham and Pleasant Grove. And, I don't know. This game I really have no feel for. It's maybe the toughest one to call in all of Texas high school football. I think this game comes down to who dictates what kind of game this is. For Pleasant Grove to win, they need this to be a slugfest. They need to lean on their physicality and their outstanding running back, Chauncey Martin. For Graham, I think they want to get this game into a bit of a shootout. Lean on their quarterback, Tucker Horn, and try to outscore Pleasant Grove. When in doubt, I think you go with the single individual best player. That's Tucker Horn. That's why I'm going with Graham. 7 o'clock Thursday at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. It's a 3A Division I state semifinal between Brock and Kemp. And Kemp has kind of reinvented itself on the fly. They've become this kind of low-scoring slugfest team that leans on their running game with Jordan Kemp. And it's working. Things have been great for Brandon Hankins and the Yellow Jackets, who, by the way, he should get some Coach of the Year consideration. But now they're going up against Brock. And Brock's defense is the hottest in the state after slowing down Wall and Comanche in consecutive weeks. This defense has got to be playing with a little bit of swagger. And oh yeah, they've got a great offense as well, led by Dawson Littlepage and Trip Jones. I think Brock comes out with a win. 7 o'clock Friday at CyFair FCU Stadium in Cypress. It's a 3A Division II state semifinal between Yoakum and Rockdale. And what else is there to say at this point about Torrey Laughlin, the quarterback for Rockdale? He is super special, and he can single-handedly put the team on his back and push them into a state championship game. But I do think that Yoakum served notice last week to the 3A Division II bracket with their dominating win over Goliad. And it's up to the Rockdale defense to slow down this outrageous rushing attack for Yoakum, led by Jordan Moore and Henry Enoch. I just think the Yoakum running game and their defense is a little bit too much. Give me the Bulldogs. 7 o'clock Friday at Vernon's Lions Stadium. It's a 3A Division II state semifinal between Canadian and Gunner. And remember, this is a rematch from last year's state semifinal in which Gunner stunned Canadian 44-34. And for Canadian, their quarterback, Cason Cavalier, has been fantastic. And I think their defense is woefully underrated. But this Gunner team is playing so well right now. Dylan Jantz has been exceptional offensively. And they did just shut down the hottest offense in the state with New Diana. I think this game is close again, but I think Gunner wins it. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Texan Drive Stadium in Porter. It's a 3A Division II state semifinal between Newton and Bowling. And look, we can talk all we want about Newton's speed. We can talk about running back Darwin Barlow. We can talk about their outstanding quarterback, Josh Foster. But let's be real about what this game comes down to. Can anyone stop Vernon Jackson. The quarterback for Bowling has been ridiculous. He ran for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns in their win over Lexington last weekend. It's up to Newton to find a way to at least slow him down. I do think that the Newton defense can be up to the challenge. I think their speed offensively is a little bit too much. Give me the Eagles. 7 o'clock Thursday at Tiger Stadium in Snyder. It's a 2A Division I state semifinal between Mart and Stratford. And maybe it's because of where they are in the state, geography, because they're way up there in the Panhandle. But I don't think anybody's paying attention to what Stratford's doing. Their one loss in the year is to Canadian, who, by the way, is still alive in the 3A Division II bracket. And this Katy McBride kid, the quarterback and defensive star for Stratford, is unbelievable. Somebody please offer this kid a scholarship. This guy is just a darn good football player. But now, how does Stratford handle the pure uncut speed for Mart? How do they slow down Tyreek Horn? How do they slow down Jace Terry? The name to know in this one for me is Mart defensive end Zamar Curvin. If he has a big game in this one, I think Mart gets through to the championship game. I think he will. Give me the Panthers. 7 o'clock Thursday at CyFair FCU Stadium in Cyprus. It's a 2A Division I state semifinal between Refugio and St Augustine. And plain and simple, can anybody slow down Refugio at this point? Jacoby Avery, their running back, has been outstanding, and their offensive line is really starting to hit a groove. And if Mason couldn't slow them down, I'm not sure anyone can. For St Augustine, like now that Austin McCallum got onto the statewide map last week with their win over Cal Allen, they are definitely the most under-the-radar undefeated team in the state. The Wolves are outstanding. Their running back, KJ Davis, has been exceptional. And their quarterback, Gavin Murr, has been just as good. But right now, I just think Refugio's on too much of a roll. Give me the Bobcats. 7 o'clock Thursday at Vernon's Lions Stadium. It's a 2A Division II state semifinal between Munster and Wellington. And there are playmakers all over the field in this game, whether it's Luke Williams, the quarterback for Wellington, or their outstanding running back, JoJo McKnight, going up against Parker McGrew, the quarterback for Munster, and their running back, Clay Stevens. For all that firepower, I think this game is low scoring because I think both these defenses are really, really good. The difference in this game for me is Munster's defensive line. I don't think that anybody has an answer for them. I think that's what guides the Hornets to the title game. And 7 o'clock Thursday at Crockett's Driscoll Stadium. It's a 2A Division II state semifinal between Tenaha and Burton. And what an offensive explosion for Burton last week. Demondrick Winters is a freak. He went off for 8 touchdowns last week in a regional final. That just doesn't happen. But now how do they handle the speed of Tenaha and their quarterback, CJ Horn? I do think this game could be a shootout. Even though Tenaha's defense was really, really good last week, I think that Burton's got the offensive weapons to challenge them. That said, I think the Tigers take home the win. And those are the picks. What am I wrong about? I know you will let me know. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/DaveCampbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/DaveCampbells. And of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the Texas High School Football State Semifinals. We'll see you.